So I got a couple notes that I took from the Fed meeting today, and I'll go over those real quick and then talk about what this means for the markets. I'll give you my opinion on that. So to start off with, the rate is going up. Powell announced that it would be 75 basis points. Now that is 0.75%, and that's actually the highest that it's went up in a period since 1994. So pretty big. I think initially thought it was going to be 50 basis points, but it is 75 basis points. So let's see, I got a couple notes here. As far as employment over the last 3 months, 408,000 jobs. But even with those jobs being added, the wages are down. At a time when jobs are being added, with wages being down, those are down at the exact same time that inflation is up. So that job's not going as far as it used to. So that's pretty much the biggest problem that we're trying to fight right now with the whole inflation issue. So also, as far as CPI, 8.6% consumer price index, and that is the May number. Now that's the change over the past 12 months. So two things that Powell did point out were the Russian conflict. I know everyone's feeling it as far as with the fuel right now, major issue. And anytime that fuel goes up, you got to remember that's associated also with food, or rather we should say food prices are associated with fuel. So those are two of the biggest things that are impacting us, and that is probably going to be like that for the foreseeable future. Now another thing you mentioned was due to we'll just say the pandemic, China's supply chain is still pretty messed up. So obviously the supply chain being messed up affects supply and demand in general. So with that being said, that is another big effect. So you can see on top of the issue and the money printing and the things that we've caused to begin with as a country, you have these other factors like the Russian conflict and China that are really hammering down on top of that. But, it is what it is, but he pointed those things out. Also, what they want to get to is 2% inflation and hold there. To think that that's going to happen anytime soon, it's just not going to. Something else that Jerome Powell did mention, which I think is a load of crap, he says that they have the tools to get us where we need to be. Well, if you think about that, he also said we had the tools to deal with the issues during the pandemic. Now, those tools were printing money. It is that very tool, right, that is the biggest part of why we're in the situation we're in right now. So whether he has the tools or not, that's one thing, but how do you use those tools? And I personally think there are no more tools left in the belt. He expects in the short term for inflation to remain high and then for it to sharply come down over the next couple of years. So if you're looking for a time frame for it to get down there, well, the next couple of years. That is what he thinks, and also said that among surveys and different things out in the market, that's also what the sentiment of the market is. I think it's going to take more time than a couple of years. Three things I do want to point out about just some keys as far as I see it. So the biggest thing with inflation, that's for those that don't understand, with your job, even if you're getting that annual increase, right? Well, it's not helping you if inflation is outpacing it. So, right, if it was at 2% and you were able to get a 2% or 3% raise, then you're either right on par with it. That's if it's a true 2%. And if it's 3%, you're able to outpace that, right? So you can keep up with the standard of living. Now, we're in a space right now where you would have to have a very good raise year over year to even think about keeping up. And that's just not happening. For most Americans, that's just not happening. So the major pain points, housing, fuel, and food, that is really where people are feeling it the most. And then also as far as the market downturn, I expect that to continue. A lot of times because of these meetings coming up and the fact that he already said they had anticipated it being 50 basis points or 0.5%, a lot of times it's baked into the market. But in this situation, everyone's been trying to figure out which direction we're going. What I think will happen with the markets, that's the traditional market and cryptocurrency, I think that we are going to get a relief rally. Now, When will it come exactly? We don't 100% know, but I do think we'll get a little bit of a relief rally. Then I think we will get another drastic drop. That's when I think we'll start to potentially find the bottom of this market, and I think we'll be in a bear market for quite a while. So regardless of what you plan on doing, have a plan and just realize we've probably not seen the worst days. I would say there's some more ahead, but those are a couple things I wanted to point out. So once again, 75 basis points, and I do believe that they're going to try to blow this market up. I think the next meeting we will see another 75 basis points, and I think the only tool that they may have is a grenade, and that's to blow the whole thing up and then really just slow things down. Then over the course of a few years, we have to start to build back up. So that's my take. I just wanted to hop on, give you a few thoughts about it. Thanks for checking out the content, and I'll see you next time.